Well, it finally happened, guys. I broke the XXL2 E. It's a bad one. Stay tuned. So in case you're wondering what I did to my truck, obviously you can see that my body is trashed. Well, the last time I ran this truck was about 10 months ago. I ran it at a rock quarry with my brother. We did a massive bashing video. It was the same scenario. Unfortunately, I didn't film it. I really wish I did. It was the same time that we were doing the X-Max versus the Colossus XL, and we were jumping them over that giant mound. Well, I did the same thing with the Losi. I launched it at least 30 feet in the air, and I was able to do 4 full rotations. I so wish that I filmed it. It was an awesome day. This thing can jump like a freak. However, I did land it, and I kept driving it, and I realized towards the end, after I was driving it, I was only rear wheel drive. Let's see why. So let's get you in close. As you can see, my body is mutilated, but that's not what I'm concerned about. This is the damage. Now, if you can see, it looks a little funny. That's because I cracked the frame in half. Yep. So apparently a 30-foot jump, landing it does a number. Now, I noticed that one of my Gen Ace batteries also suffered a breakage upon landing. It was badly cracked, so I lost actually one of my batteries in the run. Other than that, I have to say this thing is pretty damn durable. So unfortunately, it's broken. So I'm gonna have to strip this thing down, put some side rails in it. I actually have a set of side rails here. I just gotta get time to rebuild it. So that's next on the agenda. So that'll be the next thing that we do. We'll rebuild this one, and we'll get back to running that, because I do enjoy running this truck quite a bit. It's been neglected. I have well over a year of abuse on it, and I finally just tortured it, and I broke it in half. So I will say one thing. It was driving pretty good for a while. It's just, as you can see, the drive shaft just popped out because the whole chassis flexed. So everything else is good, though. Just needs a little bit of love. Now, I'll show you some updates on some other trucks too. Hang on. So while we're on the subject of braking, let's talk about this guy. Now, this truck is not broken right now. Don't think it is. But at one point, this truck was badly broken. It's something that I never shared with you guys. I never told anybody. But the day that I got my MTXL, I was running this truck with my brother on the beach. It was extremely cold out. Couldn't see anything because I had my hood up. Long story short, we were on the beach, and I smashed this thing into a pole at full speed. Now, it was a cold day. It might have been 5 or 6 degrees outside. Plastic doesn't hold up that well. And let's just say the damage was pretty epic. I still have the old chassis and all of the old parts. But when I say that everything from literally the engine forward has been replaced. The only thing that survived the crash in the front of the truck is the radio box and the fuel tank. Everything else was replaced. Front bumper support, front bulkhead, front control arms, tie rods, the steering linkage, all the braces in the front. Since that day, we've done some updates. So let's pull this body off quick. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, this is by far my most modified truck that I have. Pretty sure that I have more option parts in this truck than my Losi or 5T. So out of my fifth scales, this is my most modified truck. But ever since the crash, I was putting pieces in this thing to help strengthen it up, to help the chassis, and it was just a vicious cycle. Just one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. So I'm going to zoom you in, and we're going to go over some of those pictures. I'm going to zoom you in and show you some of those things that I did to help strengthen this truck up. All right, we'll get you in close. And one of the first things that I did, besides rebuilding everything on the front of this truck, was this is actually a Team Chase bumper support. It's upside down because when you flip these upside down, they become incredibly strong. They're meant to be flipped either way. When you have it the right way, when it says Team Chase on the top of this thing, because right now it says Team Chase down here, this actually becomes pretty weak and it bends pretty easily. This, I've done some nose down landing right in the bumper. This doesn't bend. Buried underneath the cage, let's see if I can even get it. I have the Turtle Racing front bulkhead brace. I also have the full Turtle Racing shock tower brace that's also part of the shock tower brace itself. So it's not just the top, it goes all the way down. Underneath, you could see the wiper transmission. I'm sorry, the wiper transmission. The steering, they call it a steering wiper. It's just a wiper link, the steering linkage. Excuse me. Underneath, I'm going to get a shot of what all Baja owners should have. That's almost a must, because the biggest breaking point on these trucks. Now, this is my damaged chassis. You can see how much that kick-up is, and it's actually twisted a little bit. The biggest place where these things break, which I can't believe it didn't, is right underneath. Now, my brother has a Baja, just a Baja 5B SS, and this piece actually snapped off on him. It's a very common issue. So one of the most, let's see if I can flip this bitch up on its side. Right here. This is the Scorpion front brace. And what it does is it bolts onto the chassis and it actually completely bolts to the front bulkhead. It adds strength, and it adds so much rigidity to the front of this that you will never have to worry about the front part of your Baja breaking off. Me personally, if you're going to do any mods to your Baja, this one is one of the most essential mods that you can do to a Baja to just, strengthen it up. Moving on from things that I did, so you have the Turtle Racing brace in the front. I also have a matching Turtle Racing brace in the back. You can see it's nice and dirty now. The GBE fan cover brace, followed by a full Turtle Racing tranny case. That's not really a necessity for the strength, but I just went crazy and just started, strengthening this thing up as much as I can. This, I put the Turtle Racing pull start on my 5T, and I absolutely loved it. So I put one on my Baja. I love this pull starter. People say it's a waste of money. They have a lot of problems with it, but so far, I've had 2 of these now, and I love these pull starters. They're great. Other than that, I'm not gonna go too crazy with updates on my Baja, but this is just kind of showing different things that I've done, and just like a little update video of things that's going on. So right now, what I want to do is I want to get the 8 on the bench, because I want to go over a couple things that I did with the 8 and some of the things that I'm planning to do. So hang on. All right, guys, got the 8 on the table on the tool bench. Now, couple little changes I've made to it. I have some things coming. I don't want to spoil any surprises. I can say I'm not changing the engine, but I am doing a couple other things that I want to try. I think it's going to help. Off the bat, so far the things that I've done to my 8 was obviously I've changed the wheels and tires. I do kind of like the stock wheels and tires for ripping on the street. These are great for grass. The stability that I've got from these wheels and tires versus the stock is night and day. There is so much grip with the Badlands. It's a night and day difference. Another thing that I've changed is, as you can see, I put the TRL, or Team Losi Racing, wheel nuts on there. Now, granted, they do look a lot cooler than just the standard nut, but that's not the reason why I went with the TLR nuts. Jesus Christ, the Team Losi Racing nuts. There's a very big reason for changing over to those. So these are your stock nuts. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put these on the bench and get a close look. That way you can really see the difference. So here you can see the nuts side by side. The Team Losi Racing nut and the standard Losi nut. Now, if I flip these guys over, you can see this one is exactly the same. It's flat. But if you flip the Team Losi Racing one over, it's knurled. And that bites onto the wheel. Something that nut does not do. So that in itself, it's worth getting these nuts just for that simple reason that those are going to bite down onto your wheel. Huge difference in wheel block nuts, or nuts that bite into your plastic wheel, versus just standard flat nuts. I prefer these any day. And not to mention, I mean, they look a hell of a lot better on the wheel, but again, it's not just for looks. They have a function. And now you know why, the biggest reason why I went with those. So now that I got the close-up of the wheel nuts, you can clearly see the difference of why the Team Losi Racing nuts are better than the standard nut. Another thing that I did to this truck was I changed the center diff oil. I took the stock weight oil out and I added 100,000 weight oil. Now, one thing that struck me right off the bat is, unfortunately, I mean, it's good, but it's bad, because obviously you're buying an RTR, you're not buying a full-bred, race-ready truck. It only has a 2-gear differential in it. Now, the differential case, you can see clear as day that it can do the 4-gear setup. It's just this one, from the factory, only runs a 2-gear. For now, I'm perfectly fine with that, because again, I'm not throwing crazy power. I have some things I want to do to this engine. Again, some things coming. I'll show that later and you'll understand what I'm talking about. Now, I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I absolutely love driving this truck. I have more fun, and my phone keeps going off. Hang on a second, let me just... I have more fun with this truck than I ever had with any of my other nitros. Why I never had an 8th scale Truggy nitro in the past is beyond me. This thing is more fun than my Losi Monster truck, my XXL original XXL Nitro truck. It's so capable because You can go on grass, you can go on dirt, you can go on the street. It handles, it can jump. It's just, in my eyes, more capable than the monster truck because it doesn't roll as easy. I absolutely love driving this truck. Since getting this, getting back into nitro, I've yet to really drive my gas trucks. I just have a ball driving this nitro. So with the next video that's going to be coming out, you'll see what I have in store for the 8. It's not a massive, giant, undertaking. It's not going to be life-altering. Small scale, but again, if I will say, if I didn't get so deep into the gas fifth scales and I took a dive back into nitro again, I probably would have went with the full-blown 4.0 without question, and I would have done crazy mods to it. But for now, I am incredibly happy with this one. It does the job. I get to beat this thing in my backyard and have a ball with it. But with that said, I just went over a couple different updates. Obviously, the electric XXL will be fixed. Not sure when, but it will be fixed. The Baja is ready to be beaten again. I just got to get it out there and start ripping it. And more things in store for the Losi 8. But with that said, guys, I'll catch you in the next video, and I'll see you soon. Later, guys.